My relationship and understanding of my own creative energy has really shifted in the last year or so. Instead of seeing it as something that I need to seek out or search for, I've come to understand it as non-separate from myself, non-separate from spirit and source and divine energy. And the more I see myself as merely a vessel for which it flows through to be manifested into the real world, the more I kind of can step out of my own way to allow that free flow of energy to come through. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. I am just so appreciative of you being here. Thank you so much. Today I want to talk about cultivating a more creative life. Post side, I've tried filming this video 2 times now. The first time the mic blew out, I had no sound. The second time was just literally 5 minutes ago. I finished filming and then I decided to press delete on the memory card, so I just totally deleted the entire video. I've made myself a little pot of tea here, so if you feel like going and getting yourself a cup of tea, sitting down, having a snack, and talking about cultivating a creative life, then by all means do so. Let's get into this for the 3rd time. So my first tip is to make creativity and inspiration part of your daily routine or ritual. And by this I mean to find the things that really spark that little creative spark inspiration in you and to make them part of a daily practice. For me personally, this is waking up early and watching the sunrise. If I can go down and watch the sun come up over the hills, there is nothing that quite matches that makes me feel really inspired and creative. And usually for the rest of that day, I'm just so much more likely to film a video, take some photos, write poetry, edit, whatever it is. I just feel so much more creative and inspired and motivated to go out and create things and do all the things that I want to do. And this can be different, so maybe slow mornings is what really inspires you and makes you feel really creative. So perhaps waking up and reading a book in bed, having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in bed, maybe that's how you find inspiration. Maybe it's singing or dance or music. Is there any specific activities, cooking or going for a walk or anything at all that makes you feel more inspired to create? Then try and make it part of a daily practice, even if it's just for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is. Just try and incorporate it into your day-to-day, and you'll probably find that when you start kind of making these things a part of a daily practice, you're going to have more days where you actually feel inspired and creative and passionate, and like that little fiery spark of creativity sits with you a little bit more often because you're making these a part of your rituals. Creativity, at least for me, is very much a practice. And so just setting up my environment and making these little rituals for myself that help evoke this feeling of creativity in me is super beneficial. And it's not just something that I wake up with and feel all the time. Sometimes I have to go out and do some things to help evoke that feeling within me. So don't stress if you quote unquote don't feel like you're a creative person. It's just a matter of setting up the things that make you feel inspired and make you feel creative, which is going to be different for all of us. So finding those things and allowing them to be part of your day-to-day is going to really help you feel more creative, more inspired, and have more opportunities to put that passion into action. My second point is to continue to challenge yourself and to continue to learn new things. I feel like especially when you get to a certain point in whatever creative vice you are channeling your inspiration into, you get to a certain point where your skill is at a certain level in which you can consistently create really great work. It's amazing to be able to get your skill to that point where you feel so comfortable and confident in producing that work. However, I would encourage just to continue to learn and grow and try new things, step outside your comfort zone, and to really push the boundaries and to continue to challenge yourself, because a lot of the time it's that initial challenge and that initial learning that fueled that fire in us at the beginning and made us really want to pursue whatever creative endeavor we are pursuing. doing. So continuing to learn new things and continuing to challenge and try different ways of working is going to be really good at maintaining that creative fire that is in you. And my photography work, got into it when I was about 21, so it's been about 9 years. I got to a point with it where I could produce really great photos without really stepping outside my comfort zone. I didn't really have to learn anymore. I felt like I kind of knew a lot of what I needed to know, and I was really comfortable with it. But I found myself a lot of the time just kind of going out and getting into a rhythm of it and not really trying new things or learning new things. And that kind of put a damper on that initial fire that really got me passionate about photography. And so I just started to learn some different prompts for my clients and my couples when I would go out and shoot with them. I bought a couple of new gadgets and gizmos to incorporate in. I got some prisms to chuck in front of my lens to make some fun stuff happen. I tried different editing techniques. I tried making GIFs and just kind of branching out video. I started doing some more video stuff and wanted to really like learn more. And in this process of learning more or learning something new and different and stepping outside what I was comfortable with, it kind of re-evoked that passion within me and that fire that I had when I first got started into photography. So keep challenging yourself, keep finding new ways to breathe new life into your creative endeavors. It's very similar to a relationship, you know, you've got to try and keep things spicy and try and keep things new and fresh and interesting. And the minute you kind of get slack on those, while you probably still have a good product and you can still deliver a certain level, that little bit of something different, that little bit of fire and passion behind it will probably be lacking. So keep learning and keep challenging yourself is my point number 2. My point number 3 is to collaborate and connect with others who are creatives. And it doesn't necessarily have to be within your realm of what it is you do, but it can be as well. And if it is, then that's a really good opportunity to kind of do the point of number 2, which is learn new things. I find I learned so much when I work with other photographers, when I catch up with other yoga teachers. I learn so much from those connections and from being around people who inspire me. I also just feel so much more inspired because of them. Even if you don't learn anything new, a lot of the time when you surround yourself with people who are also creatives, you in turn are going to feel more creative just by being in their presence. There's a quote that I really, really love that I actually will pull up onto my phone, and it is a quote from Clarissa Pinkola Estes, and it goes, "One of the most calming and powerful actions you can do to intervene in a stormy world is to stand up and show your soul. Struggling souls catch light from other souls who are fully lit and willing to show it." And I think that ties in really beautifully with that, because you know, when you collaborate and you meet with other people and you connect with other people who have that fire of inspiration within them, a lot of the time you're going to catch light from that, and vice versa. Like if you can be that creative light for people and you can, you know, feel the power and fire of that creativity that lives within you, that wants to be manifested through you into this world, and you can showcase that freely, so many people are going to see that and catch light from it. So don't be afraid to showcase yours and likewise connect with and collaborate with others, because you never know who might set fire to something within you or teach you something new. My 4th tip is to consistently and consciously reconnect with your purpose and your truth, your reason why, like why it is that you want to create what you want to create, why it is that you're waking up and you are making and cultivating creativity into a part of your life. What is it that you are wanting to breathe into the world by doing that? What is it that you want to convey, or the story that you want to tell? Reconnect to your truth, to your dharma, to your reason why, to your purpose for doing all that you do, but probably more specifically within this, connecting to your purpose of why it is you want to create, and allow that to be the fuel to really carry you through. Creating is not easy, you know, like a lot of the time you are putting your heart and soul into the world, and that takes a lot of courage and determination. If you are not backed by that dharma, by that intention behind doing what it is that you are doing, you're gonna burn out, it's going to fade, you're gonna get tired and unmotivated. It's gonna be taking more from you than what it's giving you. So constantly check back in, make sure you're creating from a place of truth and honesty and love, and that you are conveying whatever intention it is that is behind your work and behind what it is that you do, that is fueling and backing everything that you create, because it's just going to have so much more power when it comes from that place of truth. Oh, this next one is my favorite because I do these very, very often. I actually did a video where I took you along with me for one, and that is take yourself on creativity dates. I love this one because it's really fun. It's a really fun way to evoke creativity in your life. It's usually when I feel like I need a bit of me time, specifically in regards to the creative me. When I feel like I need a bit of inspiration or reinvigoration, a moment to reconnect with my purpose and my intention. When I need to kind of take a moment to simply create for myself. This kind of ties in all of the points that I have, and it's essentially just make an afternoon, a day, whatever it is, an hour, however long you have, take some time to intentionally nourish that creative part of yourself in whatever way you see fit, whichever way will fill you up and make you feel creatively full. And so for me, a lot of the time this looks like going somewhere new with my camera, usually taking either my singing bowl or my oracle cards, and just like being in the natural world. Being in nature is such a huge creative force for me. It is very much tied into my Dharma, and so like reconnecting with nature is such a huge one. So a lot of the time my creativity dates involve going out into nature somewhere with my camera. But it can really be anything for you. Maybe it's writing and you want to, you know, like book an Airbnb somewhere remote and just spend some time writing, or going out dancing with your friends, or whatever it is, you know, like just find a little creativity date that's going to make you feel nourished and full, creatively speaking. My next tip is to release the idea that it has to be perfect in order for you to, one, try it, and two, share it. It doesn't have to be perfect. The imperfections of us is usually what makes us beautiful. Likewise with anything that you create, sometimes the imperfections are what make it beautiful. If the idea of needing something to be perfect or needing to be able to do something perfectly is stopping you from even going out and trying in the first place, you need to release that idea right now, because it's not helping, it's not serving you. And truthfully, the more you can create and put yourself out there, put your work out there, continue to show up, continue to want to strive to be better, that's always a great thing to strive for, but not allowing that to hold you back from giving what it is that you can currently give in this moment. With these YouTube videos, when I first started creating these, didn't really want to share them because there were so many things that I wanted to be able to do, film-wise, edit-wise, being able to convey certain stuff through the camera that I didn't quite know how to do yet. And it was really scary to post a lot of my like initial videos, because I was definitely connected to intention and truth there as well, but my skills didn't quite match up to what I wanted to create and what I wanted to be putting out. And so there was a part of me that wanted to kind of hold back on sharing them because I didn't think that they were perfect. You just get better every time you do and share. So the more videos that I could make, create, edit, and share, and then move on to the next one and repeat that cycle, the more I was going to learn, the faster I was going to grow, the more I was going to be able to finally get to that point of making videos that I felt really proud to share, not allowing the idea of it needing to be perfect or anything more than what it currently is for you in this moment hold you back. Create what you can in this current space that you are in and allow it to be enough. And allow it to be beautifully enough, because it is. There is so much growth that's going to happen, but it's so okay to just be in the space creating what you can in this moment and being proud of what you can in this moment. And then when you can look back and see how much you've grown and seen how much the work you shared has grown. That's like a really nice moment, you know, because you really get to see your body of work and your growth. And also the more you share, the more is going to be coming into you. There's no point in holding on to something that you had made to put out into the world, because even in its most imperfect state, it can still impact someone. So don't be afraid to not share if it's not perfect. Just release the idea of perfect. It doesn't exist. We're all imperfect, and everything we create is going to be imperfect, and that's what makes it beautiful. This is kind of like a tie-in tip from that one, and it's just create because you want to and just for yourself sometimes. Not everything that you create, not everything that you do needs to be shared. You can totally keep some creations just to yourself if that's where you want to keep them. Don't just create because you want to get likes or external validation. Coming back to that intention, coming back to your dharma and your purpose and your truth. Allow it to come from there and to be shared from there as well. And if there's ever anything that you create that you don't want to share, that you don't feel called to share, by all means keep that to yourself. You're allowed to create just for you. And I think this is just super important in the world that we live in. I think a lot of the time we feel like anything creative, we need to like immediately spin it into some sort of profitable business. And you don't. Like, it can just be something that makes you happy. You don't have to share it. You don't have to make money from it. It can just be something that cultivates creativity and inspiration and fire within you, and that is enough, you know, like it doesn't have to be anything more than that. This is my last point, and it is a really practical tip in order from taking that creative inspiration that you've cultivated with all of these tips, hopefully, and actually putting them into action. And it's called the domino effect. And I actually read about the domino effect in regards to like finances, like paying off your debts. You start with like the smallest one and you try and knock them out like consecutively. And if you can knock out something small, you're more likely to want to knock out the next thing off from that. And it's the domino effect. In regards to creativity, if you ever have kind of like a project or a task or a concept that you want to bring to life, instead of thinking of it as like this big task that's almost looming over you, see if you can break it down into the smaller things that make up what it is and start checking those off. A real life example in my life recently was the retreat that I taught about a month ago. And honestly, the idea of designing and hosting a yoga retreat was such an overwhelming task if I was to look at it like that. I had to just break it down into baby steps. And I just broke it down into these little tasks that eventually got me to the point where I taught a yoga retreat. But it was done in a way in which I felt really capable, and it felt really achievable to be able to knock off those little steps. And every week I kind of set myself one of these tasks to do. And the more you start knocking them off, then the closer to the end goal you end up getting. So then you get just more inspired and you feel more capable of doing the following tasks. So yes, those are my tips for cultivating a more creative life. If you've watched all the way to the end of this video, thank you so much. If you have any tips of your own, leave them in the comments. I would love to hear them. I'm sure so many other people would love to hear them as well. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really supports me and supports this channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. I bow to you in absolute reverence, and I just hope you have the most amazing rest of your day, evening, whatever it is. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.